if my speech doesn't go exactly correct, I apologize. I just got off of a 15-hour shift at the coal mine last night, and I'm tired. If anybody, mine's more of a, going to be more of a motivational speech of sorts, so if anybody, I come across a statement, don't be afraid to interrupt me, clap, hoop, holler, whatever you need to do to get excited, because that's what we got to do to change stuff, is get excited. Where do we come from? How many people know why we originally set up our republic with limited government and maximum oversight by the people? Does anybody know the grievances that the colonists had against the tyranny of the British Crown and government, Parliament? Have all of you taken the time to read the Declaration of Independence lately? It is the most important document in our history. In the Gettysburg Address, President Lincoln made the light that the Declaration of Independence is not the Constitution, is our founding charter, the soul of the American people. It is something that should be read frequently to lift our hearts and to make us remember who we are and where we come from. I'm not going to read the entire thing, but I'm going to read some of it here just as a good reminder. When in the course of human events it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which has connected them with another, and to assume among the powers of the earth the separate and equal station which the laws of nature and nature's God entitle them, a decent respect to the opinions of mankind requires that they should declare causes which impel them into separation. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, and among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. That whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or abolish it, and to institute new government, laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its powers in such form as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and their happiness. Prudence, indeed, will dictate that governments long established should not be changed for light and transient causes, and that accordingly all experiences has shown that mankind are more disposed to suffer, while evils sufferable, than to right themselves by abolishing the forms in which they are accustomed. But when the long train of abuses, pursuing invariably the same object, evinces a design to reduce them under an absolute despotism, it is their right, and it is their duty, to throw off such government and to provide new guards for their future security. Now I'm going to go ahead and skip over. Everybody knows what we had against the king. Okay, there's a long list. We had no trials by jury. We had taxation without representation. He was actually dissolving our House of Representatives every time we tried to form one within the certain states. We will go ahead and skip that part. But the end is just as important as the beginning. Everybody knows the beginning. Not too many people know the end, and it explains a lot. In every stage of these oppressions, we have petitioned for redress in the most humble terms. Our repeated petitions have been answered only by repeated injury. A prince, whose character is thus marked by every act which may define a tyrant, is unfit to be a ruler of a free people. Nor have we been wanting in attentions of our British brethren. We have warned them from time to time of the attempts of their legislator to extend unwarrantable jurisdiction over us. We have reminded them of the circumstances of our immigration and settlement here. We have appealed to their native justice, and we have conjured them by ties of our common kindred to disavow these, that's a word, usurpations, apologize about that, which would inevitably interrupt our connections and correspondence. They too have been deaf to the voice of justice and of consanguinity. We must, therefore, acquiesce in the necessity which denounces our separation and hold them, as we hold the rest of mankind, enemies of war, and in peace, friends. We, therefore, the representatives of the United States of America, in General Congress, assembled, appealing to the Supreme Judge of the world for the rectitude of our intentions, do, in the name and by the authority of the good people of these colonies, solemnly publish and declare that these united colonies are and of right ought to be free and independent states, that they are absolved from all allegiances of the British Crown, and that all political connection between them and the great state of Britain is and ought to be totally dissolved, and that as free and independent states they have full power to levy war, conclude peace, contract alliances, establish commerce, and do all other acts and things which independent states may of right do. And for the support of this declaration, with a firm reliance on the protection of divine providence, we mutually pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor.